Chapter 12. And Jehovah proceeded to say to Abram, Go your way out of your country and from your relatives and from the house of your father to the country that I shall show you. And I shall make a great nation out of you, and I shall bless you, and I will make your name great. And prove yourself a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and him that calls down evil upon you I shall curse. And all the families of the ground will certainly bless themselves by means of you. At that, Abram went just as Jehovah had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he went out from Haran. So Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot the son of his brother, and all the goods that they had accumulated, and the souls whom they had acquired in Haran, and they got on their way out to go to the land of Canaan. Finally they came to the land of Canaan. And Abram went on through the land as far as the site of Shechem, near the big trees of Moreh, and at that time the Canaanite was in the land. Jehovah now appeared to Abram and said, To your seed I am going to give this land. After that, he built an altar there to Jehovah who had appeared to him. Later he moved from there to the mountainous region to the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. Then he built an altar there to Jehovah, and began to call on the name of Jehovah. Afterward, Abram broke camp, going then from encampment to encampment toward the Negeb. Now a famine arose in the land, and Abram made his way down toward Egypt to reside there as an alien, because the famine was severe in the land. And it came about that as soon as he got near to entering Egypt, then he said to Sarai his wife, Please now, I well know you are a woman beautiful in appearance, so it is bound to happen that the Egyptians will see you and will say, This is his wife. And they will certainly kill me, but you they will preserve alive. Please, say you are my sister, in order that it may go well with me on your account, and my soul will be certain to live due to you. So it happened that as soon as Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians got to see the woman, that she was very beautiful. And the princes of Pharaoh also got to see her, and they began praising her to Pharaoh, so that the woman was taken to the house of Pharaoh. And he treated Abram well on her account, and he came to have sheep and cattle and asses and men servants and maidservants and she-asses and camels. Then Jehovah touched Pharaoh and his household with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. With that, Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister, so that I was about to take her as my wife? And now here is your wife. Take her and go. And Pharaoh issued commands to men concerning him, and they went escorting him and his wife, and all that he had. Chapter 13. Following that, Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, to the Negeb. And Abram was heavily stocked with herds and silver and gold. And he made his way from encampment to encampment, out of the Negeb and to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at first, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar that he had made there originally. And Abram proceeded to call there on the name of Jehovah. Now Lot, who was going along with Abram, also owned sheep and cattle and tents. So the land did not allow for them to dwell all together, because their goods had become many, and they were not able to dwell all together. And a quarrel arose between the herders of Abraham's livestock and the herders of Lot's livestock. And at that time the Canaanite and the Perizzite were dwelling in the land. Hence Abraham said to Lot, "Please, do not let any quarreling continue between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we men are brothers. Is not the whole land available to you? Please, separate from me. If you go to the left, then I will go to the right. But if you go to the right, then I will go to the left." So Lot raised his eyes and saw the whole district of the Jordan, that all of it was a well-watered region before Jehovah brought Sodom and Gomorrah to ruin, like the garden of Jehovah, like the land of Egypt as far as Zoar. Then Lot chose for himself the whole district of the Jordan, and Lot moved his camp to the east. So they separated, the one from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, but Lot dwelt among the cities of the district. Finally he pitched tent near Sodom. And the men of Sodom were bad, and were gross sinners against Jehovah. And Jehovah said to Abram after Lot had separated from him, "Raise your eyes, please, and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward, because all the land at which you are looking, to you and to your seed, I am going to give it until time indefinite. And I will constitute your seed like the dust particles of the earth, so that if a man could be able to count the dust particles of the earth, then your seed could be numbered. Get up, go about in the land through its length and through its breadth, because to you I am going to give it." So Abraham continued to live in tents. Later on he came and dwelt among the big trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and there he proceeded to build an altar to Jehovah. Chapter 14. Now it came about in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is to say, Zoar. All these marched as allies to the low plain of Siddim, that is, the Salt Sea. 12 years they had served Kedorlaomer, but the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year Kedorlaomer came, and also the kings who were with him, and they inflicted defeats on the Rephaim in Ashtaroth-Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh-Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their mountain of Seir, down to El-Paran, which is at the wilderness. Then they turned about and came to En-Mishpat, that is, Kadesh, and defeated the whole field of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who were dwelling in Hazazon Tamar. At this point the king of Sodom went on the march, and also the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is to say, Zoar, and they drew up in battle order against them in the low plain of Siddim, against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar. 4 kings against the 5. Now the low plain of Siddim was pits upon pits of bitumen, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah took to flight, and went falling into them, and those who remained fled to the mountainous region. Then the victors took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food, and went on their way. They also took Lot, the son of Abraham's brother, and his goods, and continued on their way. He was then dwelling in Sodom. After that, a man who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew. He was then tabernacling among the big trees of Mamre the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and they were confederates of Abram. Thus Abram got to hear that his brother had been taken captive. With that, he mustered his trained men, 318 slaves born in his household, and went in pursuit up to Dan. And by night he resorted to dividing his forces, he and his slaves, against them, and thus he defeated them and kept in pursuit of them up to Hobah, which is north of Damascus. And he proceeded to recover all the goods, and he recovered also Lot his brother, and his goods, and also the women and the people. Then the king of Sodom went out to meet him, after he returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, to the low plain of Sheve, that is, the king's low plain. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine, and he was priest of the Most High God. Then he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, producer of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, who has delivered your oppressors into your hand. At that, Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. After that, the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the souls, but take the goods for yourself. At this, Abram said to the king of Sodom, I do lift up my hand in an oath to Jehovah, the Most High God, producer of heaven and earth, that from a thread to a sandal lace, no, I shall take nothing from anything that is yours, in order that you may not say, It was I who made Abram rich. Nothing for me, only what the young men have already eaten, and the share of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their share.